Norway. Norway figured out what most countries refuse to admit. You can be rich and responsible at the same time. This Scandinavian nation generates 98% of its electricity from hydropower, while other countries burn coal and make excuses. They discovered oil in the North Sea, and instead of spending it all like lottery winners, they built a $1.4 trillion sovereign wealth fund. That's $260,000 per citizen, just sitting there for future generations. Electric vehicles make up 90% of new car sales because Norway made them affordable while taxing gas guzzlers into extinction. The average work week is 37.5 hours with 5 weeks paid vacation because apparently productivity doesn't require suffering. Healthcare is universal, education is free through university, and nobody goes bankrupt for medical bills. Fjords remain pristine because tourism is managed, not exploited. The Arctic region gets sustainable development instead of industrial rape. Winter temperatures drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius, yet cities function perfectly because infrastructure isn't an afterthought. Oslo transformed its city center by removing cars, not adding lanes. Public transit connects remote villages to major cities because isolation shouldn't determine opportunity. Netherlands. The Netherlands shouldn't exist, yet it's thriving while fighting the ocean daily. Half the country sits below sea level, protected by 2,500 miles of dikes, and the Delta works, the largest flood protection system ever built. They didn't just survive water, they conquered it. Land reclamation created entire provinces from the sea, because apparently, the Dutch thought their country was too small. The cycling infrastructure includes 35,000 kilometers of dedicated paths, because bikes aren't toys, they're transportation. Rotterdam operates Europe's largest automated port, moving 469 million tons of cargo annually with robotic precision. Agriculture exports total $111 billion, despite having less land than West Virginia. They're the world's second-largest food exporter through greenhouse innovation and precision farming. Progressive social policies legalized what others criminalize, proving regulation works better than prohibition. Drug policy focuses on harm reduction instead of incarceration. Sex work is regulated and safe, instead of underground and dangerous. The entire country is a masterclass in turning limitations into advantages. Denmark. Denmark keeps winning the happiness rankings, while other countries wonder what the secret is. The secret isn't complicated. Invest in people, not billionaires. Wind turbines generate 50% of electricity because Denmark decided energy independence matters more than fossil fuel profits. The renewable energy target is 80% by 2025, and they'll actually hit it. Universal healthcare provides treatment without bankrupting families or creating GoFundMe campaigns. Education is free from kindergarten through PhD because student debt shouldn't be a life sentence. The hygge culture isn't just a marketing term. It's a philosophy that prioritizes well-being over wealth accumulation. Half of Copenhagen commutes by bicycle because infrastructure makes it easier than driving. Work-life balance isn't a buzzword. It's protected by law. Parental leave is shared equally because raising children shouldn't bankrupt mothers' careers. The wealth gap is the smallest in the developed world because progressive taxation actually redistributes. Social trust is high because the system works for everyone, not just the connected. Switzerland. Switzerland runs like a watch because precision isn't just for timepieces. The rail system is 90% on time, making other countries' excuses about weather look pathetic. 29,000 kilometers of public transit connect mountain villages to cities because geography isn't an excuse for isolation, direct democracy. Means citizens vote on major issues 4 times yearly, instead of complaining about politicians constantly. For official languages coexist without culture wars because multilingualism is seen as strength, not threat. Banking privacy laws created a financial system that attracts global wealth, for better or worse. Alpine tunnels like the Gotthard Base Tunnel stretch 57 kilometers through mountains because Swiss engineering doesn't accept limitations. GDP per capita exceeds $92,000, making it Europe's wealthiest nation. Healthcare is mandatory and private, but regulated so heavily it functions like a public system. Prescription drug costs are capped. Insurance companies can't profit from basic coverage. The country stays neutral in conflicts while selling weapons to everyone. That's not peace. That's profitable hypocrisy with excellent trains. Austria. Austria solved housing while other countries let developers run wild. 60% of Vienna lives in social housing that's actually nice, not the dystopian projects America builds. Mixed income. Developments prevent segregation because rich and poor share the same buildings and amenities. Rent is capped at €10 per square meter, while London charges that per square foot. Universal healthcare ranks top 10 globally, with costs half of America's disaster system. Classical music heritage is protected through massive cultural subsidies, because Mozart matters more than another shopping mall. The Semmering Railway, built in 1854, still operates through the Alps, because quality construction doesn't need constant replacement. Renewable energy provides 80% of electricity from hydro and wind sources. The dual vocational training system ensures 80% of students learn actual skills, instead of accumulating useless debt. Quality of life rankings consistently place Austrian cities in the top 10 globally. Public transit in Vienna costs €365 annually for unlimited access. That's what happens when transportation is treated as a right, not a profit center. Germany. Germany decided to abandon nuclear and coal simultaneously, because apparently they enjoy challenges. The Energiewende aims for 80% renewable electricity by 2030, currently sitting at 50%. Solar and wind capacity installation outpaces every EU nation, despite limited sun and inconsistent wind. The Autobahn spans 13,000 kilometers with sections having no speed limit, because Germans trust citizens with freedom. Industrial manufacturing, especially automotive, generates €426 billion annually while transitioning to electric. The apprenticeship system trains 1.3 million young workers in real skills, instead of theoretical nonsense. Public transit integration across 16 states uses one ticketing system, because bureaucracy occasionally makes sense. Recycling rates hit 67%, the world's highest, because waste separation is taken seriously, not suggested politely. Free university education attracts international students, while American graduates drown in debt. Healthcare is universal, with costs controlled through negotiated pricing, not market chaos. Berlin remained affordable until tech bros discovered it, proving even Germany can't escape gentrification. Engineering excellence built the economy. Renewable transition will sustain it. Spain. Spain built 4,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, the second longest network globally, while America argues about a single California line. The Avenue trains connect Madrid to Barcelona in 2.5 hours at 310 kilometers per hour, because flying domestic is pointless. Universal healthcare costs half of what Americans pay, while providing better outcomes and zero bankruptcy risk. The siesta culture isn't laziness. It's recognition that human productivity has limits. Work-life balance includes long lunches, late dinners, and time for family, instead of corporate worship. Renewable energy generates 50% of electricity from wind. And solar, because sunshine is abundant and free. Tourism infrastructure handles 83 million annual visitors, more than the population, without collapsing into chaos. The Mediterranean diet promotes longevity with fresh food, instead of processed garbage. Regional diversity allows Catalans, Basques, and Galicians distinct identities within one nation. Unemployment remains high at 12%, because labor protection makes firing difficult, protecting workers but limiting flexibility. Barcelona's beaches were industrial wasteland until the 1992 Olympics forced cleanup. Coastal access is public by law, because privatizing nature is considered absurd. France. France generates 70% of electricity from nuclear power, making it energy independent while others beg OPEC for mercy. The TGV network spans 2,800 kilometers, connecting major cities in hours instead of painful days. Universal healthcare was ranked number 1 by WHO, because preventive care costs less than emergency treatment. The 35-hour work week protects workers from exploitation, while maintaining productivity through efficiency. 5 weeks mandatory vacation isn't luxury, it's law, because burnout serves no one. Cultural preservation maintains 44 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, because history has value beyond tourism revenue. Agriculture makes France the EU's largest producer, feeding Europe while maintaining quality standards. Labor strikes happen frequently, because workers actually have power and unions aren't decorative. Public transit receives massive subsidies, making rail travel cheaper than driving. Paris transformed car-clogged streets into bike lanes, despite angry drivers protesting change. The government banned short-haul flights under 2.5 hours to reduce emissions. Climate policy has teeth, not just press releases. That's what happens when environmental crisis is treated like actual crisis. Finland. Finland has the world's best education system by focusing on teachers, not tests. Students don't take standardized exams until age 16, because childhood shouldn't be performance anxiety. Teachers require master's degrees and are respected like doctors, because education matters more than sports. Universal basic income experiments tested whether people would work without coercion. Results were positive. Corruption is virtually non-existent, ranking number 1 on Transparency International's index, because accountability actually exists. Forests cover 75% of the country, sustainably managed for timber without clear-cutting everything. Technology innovation gave the world Nokia, Linux, and Angry Birds because small countries can think big. Parental leave provides 164 paid days for both parents because raising children shouldn't destroy careers. The sauna culture isn't just relaxation, it's social bonding across class lines. Happiness comes from simplicity and nature access, not material. Accumulation. Public libraries are community centers with tools, studios, and technology available to all. That's what infrastructure looks like when it serves people instead of profit. Sweden. Sweden offers 480 days of paid parental leave per child because family matters more than quarterly earnings. Gender equality isn't aspirational. It's measured and enforced through policy. The carbon neutral by 2045 commitment has teeth, with carbon taxes funding renewable transition. Recycling reaches 99% efficiency because waste is seen as resource, not garbage. Deposits on bottles and cans ensure return rates hit 84% instead of littering highways. Universal healthcare focuses on prevention instead of expensive emergency treatment. Innovation culture produced Spotify, IKEA, Volvo, and Ericsson because investment in R&D pays dividends. Forest management sustains the timber industry without destroying ecosystems. Right of public access allows anyone to walk through private forests because nature belongs to everyone. Stockholm's congestion charge reduced traffic 20% while funding public transit expansion. The wealth gap is small because taxation is progressive and welfare is universal. Immigration challenges integration more than most admit, but the system adapts instead of collapsing. That's what functional governance looks like when competence replaces corruption. European countries prove that investing in people, infrastructure, and sustainability creates prosperity without sacrifice. These aren't theories. They're working models of governance that prioritize quality of life. Healthcare, education, and transportation don't have to bankrupt citizens. Like this video if you believe your country can learn from Europe's success.